You can just put your...
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Dawn Ewing. I'm the Executive Director of the International Academy of Biological Dentistry and Medicine, and this is our Zoom meeting for this evening. And Kelly is going to be talking to us this evening about stuff that everybody's been asking about. And so I'm going to turn it over to her, and you guys get prepared, get your notepads out. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, well, thank you very much for having me with you all tonight. It's a great forum to be able to share the benefits of medical grade air purification. As you would imagine, we've been inundated with calls. I think just here in our Boston office, which consists of me and my husband right now, is we've been receiving about 100 requests a day. So with that, we've adjusted our style of management, and our goal here is to be able to assist each person with like personalized attention and being 100% present for that person and their needs, and really getting inside what's best for them. So with that, we've just sort of created an organizational system of keeping everything towards email, because as you can imagine, balancing voicemails and phone calls and text messages gets a little complicated, and we felt badly if somebody got missed. So email seems to be a great way to organize people. It gets us all the information in one place. So I thank everybody for their patience. We've talked with a lot of people, and it's really comforting to know that we have a solution not only for this current pandemic situation, but for dentistry in general. So just a little background of our company. So again, the name is Surgically Clean Air. We were created after the outbreak of SARS. So with that outbreak, the two doctors that created our technology had simple goals. They wanted us to be highly effective, easy to use, and cost effective to maintain over time. And they achieved that with having high-powered kill chamber. So almost sort of beyond UV light. And I know I've spoken with so many doctors, and they've done a lot of research, and it gets a little confusing, you know, comparing these different things and different terminologies. So UV light obviously is the key for killing germs, viruses, also for bacteria and fungus. But the keys to look for is to be to a level of being germicidal. So with that, you get the designation of not just UV, but UV-C. And again, so C becomes into the germicidal level of killing germs and viruses. And we take it the next step further, is that we have our UVC in combination with titanium dioxide. And together that creates hydroxyl radicals. And in that chamber, we conveniently call it the kill chamber. All the air that comes through that section of the kill chamber is cleaned and sterilized. So really, really powerful. So again, as people are doing their research and things, be sure to look for UV-C. I always like the words that not all UV light is created equal. Sometimes it is just a blue light. So really take a look. Wattage and strength play into its ability to kill germs and viruses. And again, if it is of that strength, it'll have the UV-C. So again, when the doctors wanted to be highly effective, that was killing the germs and viruses. Then the next thing that's of high level of focus right now is aerosols. So again, the carrier of the germs and viruses. So now we get into the topic of Hepa. And again, so similar to UV light, is that not all Hepa is created equal either. So to kind of level the playing field with Hepa, you can look for words like medical grade, like for Surgically Clean Air, we are a MERV 17. So the MERV rating is done by you know, the quality and the thickness and the density down to the particulate size of which it will capture. So this is key. So again, MERV 17 is very high quality. It's to the OSHA, and then also to the level of what they use in hospitals. And one thing I like to really point out, I've been asked so many, you know, times over the last 4 weeks, like what differentiates Surgically Clean Air. Excuse me 1 second. I've had a little problem with my voice. What differentiates us is, again, having that kill chamber. So not only as our HEPA filter captures the aerosols, but then we also kill it. So as the HEPA is wrapped around the kill chamber or the UV light, everything that's entering into that HEPA is also killed. So I think that's important to point out. So again, back to the doctors that created Surgically Clean Air, being effective over time and easy to use. So we are plug and play. So very simple to use, very easy to set up. Basically, take it out of the box, a plastic bag to take off, and use a standard outlet. And then when we talk about the ability to be cost effective over time, gets into the life of your consumables. So again, your filters and such. So we are industrial built, like we are built for dental. So that includes things like being of solid steel construction. So again, durable and strong. Our machines are beautifully put together, like our Cascade is all magnetically assembled. And the same with the Jade, the construction on it is great. So with consumables, again, another thing to take a look at as you're sort of evaluating the bigger picture of air purification. Our HEPA filter gets changed annually. Our UVC light bulb gets changed annually. And then the activated carbon is what captures the chemicals, off-gassing, and odors. Gets changed about every 6 months. If people have questions, I am flexible to go with the flow or whatever format works best for everybody. I can just see somebody popping up. No, okay, well, I'll continue then. So again, that was sort of the overall goal. So highly effective, easy to use, and then cost effective over time. So we've achieved that extensively. And then back to sort of the creation of the systems. We talked about the UV in the kill chamber. We talked about the HEPA. And the next layer is the activated carbon. So activated carbon is tremendous at picking up odors, chemicals, off-gassing, even VOCs. I often tell the story of how we are able to mitigate all that is at a gross anatomy lab. So as I often say, if you can take care of the air quality in a gross lab, just think what we can do for you. So anything from the chemical plume when you first open the cavity of the cadaver and you get that formaldehyde feeling into the room. For there, we definitely use the power of the Cascade, our larger machine, to capture and mitigate and take care of the air quality there, to a point where when Tufts University first had a sampling of what we could do in a very short time, they went ahead and invested to bring them into all of their labs. The other big thing we're talking about right now, just kind of walking through the questions that doctors have asked me over the last month during this time of very intense emotions, and I'd have to say, basically a summary of anxiety, is how we can help. The function of the machine, I love the technology, but it's really the benefits that we want to talk about. So the benefits are keeping the team healthy. So your staff, letting your staff know they have a safe place, a safe zone to come back to work to. And again, I always feel that when the team has that confidence where they are, and also the caring and the morale boost, that knowing that the doctor has done this for them is like, when you're protecting somebody else's health, it's sort of the ultimate show of really caring for that person. So again, their confidence is very strong coming back to work. And as we all know, when your team is confident and feeling good, that radiates to your patients. But where you talk to, so many people in different walks of life, but especially in dentistry, there's, high level of stress and unknown of what's happening. And so the patients are feeling that too, like, when can we go back? What if we need to come in for a procedure? So again, knowing that there's a safe zone, like, we've got you covered, we're doing this for you type thing. The messaging to the patients has also been key. I kind of like to share a story. So Dr. Richard Rosado said, "Oh yes, I need to get one of the smaller Jade units in my waiting room for marketing." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. We have 6 stages of medical grade technology. We cannot be marketing." So I always say what he really meant was that we were iconic, something that was visible and something in motion that people could focus on when they see it in the waiting room and see it throughout the office. So again, I just wanted to pause. I didn't know if you guys like to do question and answer during this time. Okay, well, hearing none, I'll continue. A lot of questions that we get asked
Kelly,
is
I'm
about,
trying to unmute myself and I'm just
okay,
not fast enough. Dawn here. First off, I want to inject a couple of things. I
okay,
think it's important that the staff, in particular a receptionist, knows how to explain this piece of equipment so that when patients call, they are able to, right without them asking a question, hey, I want you to realize that we've bumped up our standards here, and we have a unit that goes in and surgically scrubs the air so that this is a safe environment for you. Can you
yes,
give us a little paragraph? Can you shoot something to us, maybe by email, that we could put on our websites for those that buy the unit and that can just advertise that we're at a higher level of care? The second thing I wanted to say is the IABDM actually wrote a letter and we sent it out to the CDC, OSHA, the governor, the mayor, saying biological dental offices are the only safe dental offices for patients to be seen, and here are the reasons why. And ozone and air scrubbers go into that mix of what makes a biological office. So I want you to know that we're working to plug you as you are working to help keep our offices safe. So
thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's all like a growing base of knowledge for everyone. So as far as adjusting to your staff, yeah, so I had a doctor here, Dr. Stephen Hamelberg, that has had surgically clean air for a good couple of years now. And he actually wrote a letter to all of his patients, an email letter. It's where my daughter goes. So we received the letter too. And in that, he was telling all of the protocols and all the things they were doing to keep the patients safe. And in there, he wrote a beautiful paragraph about surgically clean air and what motivated them to have it and why it's important for the patient. So I would be happy to share that. It was very well done. And for the staff, I usually like to bring it down to the simple 1, 2, 3s. And I really do find when the staff just understands, again, that the doctor did this for them, is a huge boost of morale. I have a favorite doctor. She's holistic, Dr. Savage in Gig Harbor, Washington, and she does speeches on the happiness advantage. And so she actually relates to how an office that is happy and together as a team is more productive. And then Dr. Savage also goes into like how it results in greater profitability. So it's really interesting. So I think the messaging to the staff is really important. And again, keep it into the simple 3s of, we did this for you to obviously kill germs and viruses is a big one right now, capture aerosols and improve the overall air quality. And I do find that once they have that internalized, it comes out organically when they're speaking with the patients. And when you talked about the ADA and the CDC and the governing bodies here, so the ADA actually called Surgically Clean Air to ask about our capabilities. The 2 things that they were focused on was, one is our air turns per time per operatory, and the second one was our aerosol capture. So again, I know there's lots of different conversations. So again, this is just a conversation from me. It's not a statement, but it looks like the focus is on air turns per time to be 6 times per hour per operatory. And I know there's been talks of negative pressure and other things as well, but it seems like they're dialing in on the air turns. And so when they called Surgically Clean Air, what they were asking is what our capabilities were. So again, taking the Jade, our inoperatory machine, I like to give the example, if you were in an operatory that's 12 by 12, and you had the Jade in that operatory on speed medium, you would turn every ounce of air in that operatory every 5 minutes. So again, surpassing their possible stepping forward with 6 times an hour. So that was pleased because they were very open to say they don't want to go forward with a regulation or a recommendation for best practices when there isn't a solution. So again, we can handle that extremely well. Our aerosol capture, again, with our MERV 17, HEPA filter is very powerful. And then, additional benefits with a germ and virus kill and the activated carbon. And one other stage I didn't talk about when we looked at the system, and I always say the system that Surgically Clean Air has created is the net result is better than the individual stages as a separate pieces. And so that being is like our final stage is that we have a negative ion generator. So I know actually, I think the first time I learned about negative ions was from my holistic and biological friends. So you guys know the benefits of what it does to air quality. Some people call it vitamins for the air. It can make you feel better. We often talk about the fact that negative ions are a product of nature wherever there's collisions of water. And in indoor situations, they get depleted throughout the day. So just bringing that negative ion feeling back into the office has its benefit. But it also has a benefit in the cleaning system, and that is that they make the smaller microscopic particulate in the air cluster. When they cluster, they become heavier. When they're heavier, then they drop out of the breathing zone. And then again, for the Surgically Clean Air system, we sweep up the dirty air from low, and then the clean air comes out the top. And that's what gives us our high velocity of air turn. So again, like each stage works together, so the whole unit works as a system. Other questions we get asked is, like again, the high focus right now is the Jade, the inoperatory at the source infection control machine, because it can, again, not only cover operatory size, but if you took that same unit and you say, put it into your waiting room, and let's say you have a large waiting room of 500 square feet, and again, you have that Jade in there. So instead of turning the air every 5 minutes, you're going to turn the air every 15 minutes or 4 times an hour. So people, when they're talking about CFM, which is cubic feet per minute of air turn, and they often ask like, oh, how much room can this air purifier cover? The equation actually comes to your CFM based on the area of which you'd like to cover. So the speed of which you're turning the air to that space. So I'd like to give that example back and forth between the operatory and say you had a larger waiting room. And it's okay to turn the air with less frequency when you're not at direct exposure that you are in an operatory. Sometimes you use the example of your home. So again, OSHA, recommends air changes per home to be once an hour versus what they're looking at potentially for an operatory is 6 times an hour. So again, you could have one Jade in a good size home, and you don't have all the exposures that you have in operatory. Then our other size machine is what I call our workhorse. So it is our Cascade. It was the original machine that was created after SARS. So this thing is a workhorse. So again, it's the one that's used in gross anatomy labs and in larger situations. And this is really coverage for the ambient air throughout the office. Kind of like to give the steri center as sort of a key focal to this. So it does not need to be right near it, but just in the vicinity. Again, it's moving so much air. So you're looking at a total of 640 cubic feet of air per minute. So again, if you're picturing an actual cubic foot, a box of air, 640 of them a minute would be running through this machine with the same 6 stages that I went over with the Jade. So very powerful. And then everything is just bigger and stronger. So more UVC, more activated carbon, larger surface area for your Hepa, more creation of negative ions. Another example that happened here in Boston that is a great illustration of the use of the 2 machines is, as you know, when the universities shut down, Tufts University closed down their academic building. They turned the 2nd floor of the academic building into an emergency center. So right away, it was actually a Monday morning, they called us. We still had inventory. They said, we need Cascades, we need them right away. We're gonna turn this academic floor into an emergency center. So they got Cascades for the big space. And at the same time, they wanted to create isolation rooms. So if somebody came in symptomatic, they wanted to get them out of general population as soon as possible. So again, they created 8x8 rooms, and they purchased the Jades to go and create these isolation rooms and protect the front-end workers, frontline workers. So again, just a great illustration of space and coverage and what works best as far as combination for what we could do for your office as well.
Kelly, what about mold in an office?
Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, mold obviously is airborne. So the particulates that cause it to spread are airborne. So we kill the airborne portion of mold. So therefore mitigating the spread of mold. And again, not to keep going back to the gross anatomy lab, but of course, cadavers are in bags, and quite often they're frozen, and then they are thawed for use with the students and the doctors. And so during that process, a lot of moisture is captured in the bags. And so again, having the power of the cascade in there really helped the universities mitigate the growth of the mold even on the cadavers. So again, I look at this situation as kind of the extreme for everything. So yeah, we mitigate the growth of mold. If you had a pod of mold, in the corner of, of your portion of your office, we will not like physically be able to remove that, but we will keep it from spreading.
And so I have a question here from someone that says, if we had a jade in each operatory, more jades than were recommended for full office filtration every 30 minutes, would we need additional units in common areas, or can the machine still pull air from other areas?
Yeah, great question. We kind of look at it before the coronavirus, we kind of looked at it as gold, silver, bronze coverage levels, because we understand like people are in different needs and different stages of their offices and businesses. So gold would be a jade in every operatory, one in the waiting room, and one in the common area near the steri center. So the same thing. And what we recommend in a situation like that is, me personally, I recommend when you first get your jades, leave them on for the full week and kind of let them work their magic and do a deep clean. But after that, you can kind of feel it out, and possibly turn off your jades that are in operatory and leave the two, one that would be in a common area near steri and one in the waiting room. You could leave them on all the time. So that would be your gold standard coverage. Again, covering every inch of the office. And then again, flexibility of what works best for the doctor and the team. We often talk about the staff room as well. And again, some staff do sit together and eat and talk, have regular meetings. And in those situations, I recommend a jade in that area too. The other thing I'd like to point out is, say you just have a Monday morning meeting or a Tuesday morning meeting, and you have a jade near steri in an open area. They're only 29 pounds and they have handles. So again, like we're, don't want to sound like we're trying to sell more and more machines, but you have that flexibility to move it if you don't have a constant need in one area. And then people say, well, what would silver be? And sometimes you'll find people with different configurations, like whether you have a closed operatory, like walls all the way to the ceiling, but then you have your open concept when sometimes it's just the cabinetry that's dividing, and you might have a walkway through your assistant and one for the doctor. We've had some offices that try to utilize the power of the jade in through those walkways to cover both rooms. And again, you have the option to turn it up to high, so you'll have a little bit more power, a little more CFM for coverage of both. And the other thing I like to share is that, once you're a client with Surgically Clean Air, we honor you for life. So, maybe at a particular time, you can do the best is to have a jade shared for 2 operatories, and you call us up, 6 months later, you're like, yep, I want one for each. So you would never go back to first piece price. We work on bundle discounts just to try to be helpful to have that best coverage. And then some people are like, so that would be silver, maybe sharing a machine and sharing locations. And then, bronze type thing, I've spoken with so many doctors, and like when we come back, we have 6 operatories, but we might just be using 2. And then I said, well, look to get one for each of those 2 operatories now. And I still recommend one for the waiting room for all reasons, for health, for staff, and for iconic imaging to your patients. And, that works out for those people too. So we're really here to do what's best for you. I wish the whole world could have gold coverage, but we understand that everybody's life situations are what they need to do to take best care as they can do. We say everything helps, whatever you can do.
Kelly, I know that the maintenance is not hard. Do you have a video that you can show us to to just show how easy it is to go in and clean this?
Well, when Dr. Grace Yum got her machine, she got them at night, and I was already in my PJs. I'm a morning person, so it was 9 o'clock. I was ready to tuck in, and she's like, "Oh, I just got my Jades. I want to set them up." So I had my daughter video me in my PJs doing the setup. But we have progressed a long way since then, and so we just launched our YouTube channel. So it's just Surgically Clean Air on YouTube, and it shows the setup, it shows the cleaning, and it shows all of those things, and nobody's in their PJs, so it's really quite professional.
Do you mind typing that in the chat box?
Sure.
It's down at the bottom. And
you know,
then if you
my
click
IT,
on that, then you'll be able to type in the whatever that they can get to the YouTube channels.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, yeah. And then I have another question. I'm sure there are people that are curious. First piece cost, what's a Jade?
So it is, if you buy just one, it is $24.95, so $2,495.
Okay, and if we go in as a group through the academy?
Well, we operate on a bundle discount. Again, we were designed for dental, and so what we have is a very aggressive bundle discount already established. So just to give you an example, I had all my tools lined up. So if you were to do one Jade, it's $24.95. If you do two, you're right into an 11% discount. Three, 14% discount. Four is 17% discount. So it just grows as you increase your quantity. So at this time right now, just the fact that we're completely sold out and kind of at a new level of demand that our company has ever experienced. And so not only for trying to serve as many people, like even my headquarters, everybody there is working 7 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day. We kind of don't have the intellectual capabilities or the physical capabilities to bring in new group discounts at this time.
Sure.
And it's like, to no disrespect or not wanting to have
so
that.
The upgraded unit from that would be for whole home. We're saying maybe a 1-story house, because I'm assuming if it's a 2-story or a multi-level home that you've got to have one on each level.
Yes.
Okay, and those larger units, that's not the Jade unit, that's the one that's up from there.
No, we recommend the Jade for home. And again, you had mentioned maintenance. And
yes.
Actually, when we first created our very first machine, the Cascade, it only came with an electrostatic cell. So electrostatic is a pretty awesome piece of equipment. It is negative and positive charged metal fins. And in those metal fins have tremendous capture of aerosol, particulate, even blood pathogens. Like it's pretty amazing. And then our machine will communicate with you by a blinking light. It's actually a little shower head. I always say, it says, clean me, clean me. You just take it out and you spray a little Myers surface cleaner on it and then hose it off, and it goes right back into your machine, and it has an automatic drying cycle. But when Gord Christensen did his evaluation of our company a year ago, March, we got excellent reviews on everything, like people's comments, like, I haven't been sick in 2.5 years since we installed it. I have a hygienist that has tremendous allergies. She can never breathe when she's in the office. She feels so much better. We have patients commenting on how good the air quality feels, like all these wonderful, wonderful things. And the only negative was sometimes it's a little bit too much to take care of, too much maintenance, because it was, again, a monthly washing of the electrostatic cell. So we just did a revision to the Cascade, so the same core of the machine, but now you can buy it Hepa, or you can buy it electrostatic cell, or E-cell, if you will. And the nice thing with the Hepa, again, is it's an annual change. And the quality of the air scrubbing is excellent as well. So same particulate capture. So with that, we have the same option with the Jade. So the Jade's the same technology as the Cascade Hepa. But again, when you have that in your home, the maintenance on it is very low, which is been advantageous. People seem to really enjoy that, not only at the office level. So it is the Jade that is #1 recommended for home use.
And I have a question here from someone that says, is there a warranty and what's the typical lifespan of a unit?
That's a great question. So again, when we were created in 2008 and the first machine was the Cascade, we still have original Cascades in the field from that time. So just to give a little example of the quality of construction of our units, the Jade was developed a year ago, November. So again, we have, great history with it, but on a shorter span. So the lifespan, again, of the Cascade is still in existence from 2008 with original equipment out there. Our projection is that the Jade will also have a long lifespan. I guess an estimate, which is again kind of just a number out there, so they're saying 15 years. As far as the warranty on it is 1 year.
Okay, and is there a possibility of an extended warranty?
We are working on that. So obviously with our increased demand, we are growing our team throughout North America. And actually our demands in Europe are extremely strong right now as well. And a different division of our company is working on that, but it's just kind of exciting. So we are looking to have more and more representatives for that personal touch throughout the US and throughout Canada. So right now in pockets where we have strength, like I'm here in Boston, we have an office. We also have a warehouse here in the Boston area. So with me, I have a full-time tech rep. And so with that, we have a program that people can sign on to, and he can help care for the machine, especially for larger offices that have a lot of machines. And with that program, we do have an extended warranty. So as we grow and develop more strength in pockets, like we have some real big pockets of success, like let's say Texas, for example. Texas is really strong with us right now. So, that's one of our first focus is to, get a team there as soon as possible. But seriously, in this last 4 weeks, I have sold machines from Bermuda to Alaska without exaggeration. So it's been pretty intense. So again, as we continue to grow as a company, our service level and our care level continues to grow with that.
What would be anticipated delivery date?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is a deposit down, and with that deposit, your name goes into queue. We are doing first orders in, first orders out to try to be fair to everyone. Right now, our expected delivery date is end of May. I personally, when I'm speaking with people, I like to pad that a little bit. So end of May with a little / early June, because I would much rather over deliver than underserve. And again, we will be trucking down from Canada. So again, like what if right now you can't drive to Canada as a person, but the trucks are still able to travel. So again, I like to pad it a little bit just for logistics and things that are a little bit out of our control. So end of May, early June, we're feeling very confident. We have a quick meeting, a staff meeting every morning with updates of our manufacturing, because like with each batch that comes off, how much of that batch has been allocated to be able then to give people the proper date of expectation. And right now our manufacturing is going extremely well. We're doing triple shifts at our factory, and we're still on par for end of May. And we are producing over 300 units a day.
And so how can, I'm here in Texas, how can we help you here in Texas get ramped up so we can take care of I know we have a very large population of biological dentists here in Texas, and I honestly will do whatever I have to do in order to get you servicing
we're actually
our
we're working with a couple of your key members and key presidents to help facilitate that right away. So the problem we're having a little bit is like even myself, but then our ownership, which is Doug and Marshall, everybody is really just focused on serving everybody as well and as quickly as we can. So for us right now, we're definitely looking for a veteran sales rep. They don't really need to be from dental. Like I came from the sporting goods industry. Um, but just really for me, when I talk with people, number one is polite, caring, concerned, honest, and healthy minded. I mean, to learn the benefits and the technology is pretty straightforward. And then to have the instinct to best serve people, like your feel for airflow. And like I've had a lot of compliments over the last month, like my ability to kind of visualize the space based on the definition by the doctor and really kind of dial in what works for them. And that comes with a little bit of experience. I mean, I've been in so many dental offices, but that type of thing. Right now, our personal goal, especially, I don't know if for all those who've called or emailed, you've seen my husband's email response. So my husband is in dental. He's with Doctor Disability Specialist, so like disability insurance and that type of thing. So since we left our office, we're both working at home, so he could hear me on the phone. And I had 2 consecutive days where the phone just rang as soon as I hung it up that I was not able to make a return phone call for 2 days, which is very unlike me. So he came over, he's like, you need help? And I'm like, no, honey, I got it. He's like, no, you need help. So he has joined me full time. I tell you, it's been tremendous. It's actually been really fun too. But you know, he's of similar nature. Like he's here to help. We're called to service right now. So what we've started to do, because text messages are harder to track, phone messages are harder because you need to then listen and record the phone number and then return, is we've been directing people to email because you have a trackable source. You get all the important information. So if people are interested in proceeding that way, we've even had people put headlines in the subject line like biological dentist, you know, and then we are being attentive to making sure you guys get taken care of very well. We take care of everybody well, but we're giving you a little extra love.
Well, and what I meant more from the academy is I'd like for us to be able to link to the YouTube that you have, be able to get people educated about what it is. They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And so, you know, our mission as an academy is to educate.
Okay.
Not just the public, but to educate the dentists as well. And so if there's something, and you can private message me or email me, anything that we can do to help education-wise, like this Zoom meeting. I know that somebody asked on here for, oh, there you go. There's your...
Yeah. So,
okay, but that's not your email. Is that how you want people to contact you?
No, that's our, sorry, I should have put that. So that's our website. And I have received a lot of compliments on the ease of use of our website. So from videos to breaking down the important information, the details, explanations. Like even when you're on our homepage at SCA Dental, when you go down to the bottom of the homepage, there's actually a little intro video. Kind of gives a visual to like when you talk about re-energizing the air with negative ions, it's really cool to kind of see a visual. They did like a blue, you know, light coming through, but it really shows like a great setup, and it really, again, I like to always illustrate the benefit that goes with each layer of technology. So what's helpful for us and whomever, you know, rep that you're speaking with from our team, and it kind of shortens the conversation, and that's really the benefits of this type of forum, is so I can share with the group one sort of the benefits, the purpose, what's the best setup, as we were talking about with gold, silver, bronze type of thing, to educate you. So when we do speak, I can really just dial in on your needs and your layout and be with you in that time to really kind of dial in what's best for you. So again, if we don't have to start each conversation with the technology, like a gentleman today called me, so tell me a little bit about your system. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, have you been to our website, or you know anything about us? He's like, no, just interested. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, it's hard sometimes. I'm doing 30-minute phone calls pretty much from like 7 to 7. So not starting at the beginning is really helpful. So even like when emailing into myself and my husband, because he's taking all the incoming, is little details like best phone number to call you back on. your overall, just in rough numbers, doesn't have to be perfect, but overall rough square feet, sorry, of your office, number of operatories. And then just a little bit about whether you're closed concept, which would be like doors all the way to the ceiling for operatories, or open concept, again, sort of that when you have the cabinetry separating operatories. That is really helpful. And then in that, most dentists have their tag, which gives their address, which is helpful for us to know the time zone. And then what we've just been requesting is that people just say, hey, you know, I'm free most Tuesdays between, you know, in the mornings or late afternoon or whatever time works best for you. And then Chris is just writing back and making an appointment, but really just even shortening that email back and forth to dial in for the best time. So like blocks of windows that work for you, knowing your time zone, we're on Eastern Standard, and then dialing that in for appointments. And what I love most about this is one, we just got the idea from our dental offices, because it's pretty much how the dental office runs. But for me, it allows me to be 100% present with that person. Actually, Chris has sort of taken over my office. I've moved out to the dining room table. It's just, you know, me and a pen and a pad of paper, just fully focusing on each person's needs and their desires. I mean, you have all sorts of people. I spoke with one beautifully nice woman today, and, you know, she's just recovering from mercury poisoning. So, you know, she was asking the difference of the power of the Cascade for the Jade, because she had just gone through this experience, and it was really important for her to have the maximum coverage and things like that. So again, dialing into each person's situation and needs so we can help them to the best capabilities that we can.
Okay, so I want to get back to the filters. You talked about two different types of filters, one being the Hepa. What is the annual cost to service the equipment?
Yeah, so we call it consumables because it's the thing that needs to be replaced. So again, a huge differentiating feature for surgically clean air is that it's not a regular change out of the filter. So again, for the Jade and the Cascade, so they're both the same, is the Hepa filter is annual. The UVC light bulb is annual, and then the activated carbon is about every 6 months. And then for both of our machines, light indicators will show you. So like in the Jade, the ring will flash, and different rings mean different things, and it's all either on our website or in the manual. And then for the Cascade actually has a full screen, sort of like the pad of your smartphone. And it'll show you different icons. If it needs a new UV light bulb, the light bulb will blink. If it needs to be washed, a shower head will blink, that type of thing. So all told, for 1 year, to keep your Jade at maximum top-notch cleaning is about $200 per year. So for the Cascade with the Hepa model, the same process, so annual, and then about every 6 months, and it's about $300 per year.
That's nothing. So I mean
and I must say that a lot of people, majority of people, like I'm close to like 90%, are going with the Cascade Hepa. And again, it's new for us. It's very exciting. But as the whole focus right now is talking about Hepa, whether you're with ADA or the CDC, they're talking about Hepa. And again, the fact that we're a MERV 17, so it's staying in that consistency of what people are talking about. It matches the technology of the Jade, and then the simplicity of the care has been really attractive for most people. So unless somebody is, you know, in a special situation or has a really active lab type thing in their office, I'd say 90% are going with a Cascade Hepa.
Okay. All right. And you said that there were bigger. So we've talked about 2, but you have 6?
No, we have 2 models. So
Okay.
the Jade is our inoperatory model, and it comes in 2 colors. It comes in either white or black. And then the Cascade is our other model, and it comes in just white. It is larger. Again, I love this machine. It is our workhorse. And again, with the Cascade, you just plug it in, turn it on, and leave it on. It's just going to continually outreach and scrub the air in your space. It stands about 5 feet tall, It is 125 pounds. For me, when
It's
I'm
like
in
a
person,
wine refrigerator.
yeah, that's what all the ladies say if I used to come wheeling it in. They're like, "You bringing in a wine fridge?" And I said, "Nope, I'm bringing you some healthy air." So, but they're both beautiful machines. And again, obviously I'm biased, but I love to have them be seen. Working again with a lot of my doctors here in New England. And, when I especially first started, I was doing all the placements and all of the installs. And, I love to have that cascade seen. You put it centrally located, whether it's right coming through the reception if you have an open setup, and you can see it there as you walk into the next portion as you go, usually from the waiting room into the clinical area.
Okay. And I'm going to get back to something I asked earlier because I just want to make sure that I heard the answer correctly.
Sure.
About a paragraph for a receptionist, and I heard you say that there's a doctor who did a small video that was when you were in your pajamas, but what is it that a receptionist can say? Part of our fear is that, for instance, our hygienists, before COVID, you already had an issue trying to convince people that they needed to forgo having their hair cut and colored, and that they really needed their teeth cleaned because it was more a health issue than having their hair cut and colored. But they would happily spend the money on their hair and not getting a cleaning. Well, now they have ammunition to say, well, I don't want to come into the office because I could get something.
Right.
And I feel like our hygiene departments are really going to suffer unless we have ways to be preemptive about that and reach
Right.
out to our patient populace. Like you said, a letter. Is there anything other than that that you are prepared to maybe attach to us, and how can we get that letter?
Yep, I can absolutely share it with you. I asked Dr. Hammelberg if he would be fine if I shared it, and he said absolutely. So that's a nice touch. I like to simplify it. People say they remember things best in threes, and things that are most important. So, just the thing like, hey, we have these, units here, and they kill germs and viruses. They're here to keep you healthy. They might not know the word aerosols or the word particulates, but, they take all the things out of the air to keep you safe. And just reassuring with these types of words. And I actually like it when, the hygienist would take the time to watch that intro video on our website, and just take a few minutes and, get accustomed to it. And then they kind of internalize it and use the words that are best suited for them. We do have a one-page handout in the flyer, like we call it, like at the source infection control machine. So again, adapting those words for the upfront part of the office would be helpful. But even the thing is, like, you can see the air moving. I had one clever office, she just hung some like a mobile, like a golden mobile over it, so that as the air was moving, it was dancing around. And so that was really helpful just to draw attention to it. Sometimes people are focused on their appointment time or getting their card out or their ID card or whatever. So it just brought attention to it. It's like the movement of air and the movement of things. The other thing we do to support the positive energy is we do include a pop-up banner. I should have had one set up, but it's just a little banner. When you go to a trade show and you see a banner that's on a little rack. So we made one that's like the size of a legal pad, and it just says, "This air is cleaned by surgically clean air." And then in a different color block, it says, "Because we," meaning the doctor, "because we care about your health." So again, just that little statement piece up front is really powerful. So as soon as this all kicked in, and again, from all the doctors that we heard from, that imaging up front was really important, my team inside just started shipping those pop-up banners with each machine. So that was really helpful.
And I had a question that popped up here. It says, how much does the Cascade Hepa cost?
Yep, the Cascade, both the E-cell Cascade and the Hepa are the same. So they're $74.95, so $7,495.
And then Teresa posted on here that she made a social media post telling people how proactive we're being with the surgically clean air and how careful that they're being with their health. And she's requesting a banner.
Okay, yes. For anybody who
Write
does
that down
have,
on a scratch piece of paper and make sure she gets one, okay?
yeah, yes. Yeah, they've been actually, it's, interesting. It was my owner, Marshall, that created them one day as a little surprise. Um, yeah, so I mean, those types of things have been really helpful to communicate. One other thing that came about, so it wasn't really in our design, but again, just hearing the feedback from our teams, and again, helping to build that staff, love of the machines, is as your patient is done and they're departing the operatory, as your staff comes in to clean the room to prepare for the next patient, as they're wiping down the surfaces in the operatory, they turn the machine, the Jade, up to turbo. So turbo is really intense air power. CFM is close to, well, it's 394. So again, it's audible now. Like you can hear this. So as the team is wiping the surfaces, they turn it to turbo, not only protecting them from the cleaning agents, but then also scrubbing the air while you're scrubbing the surfaces. So the staff feels great. They kind of feel like they're protected while they're doing their job. And then when that next patient walks in, it's like pow, like this really like pop of fresh air. So again, like we're hearing so many other advantages that we hadn't really thought of when we developed the Jade that have been significant, again, for the team, but then for the patient experience. I've actually had doctors here that have had surgically clean air, and they've had patients come in and be like, geez, Dr. Pearl, what is going on in here? And they're like, oh, well, we have these units, they're called surgically clean air. She's like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want this air quality in my home. It's not often you hear that from dentistry. So Dr. Bob Pearl actually is just connected back to me, like 5 or 6 of his patients that have then bought the units for their home.
And you talked about the noise volume. What's it like when it's on its regular setting?
Well, I find medium, like I have the decibels, on medium it's at 45 decibels. But again, as sort of a comparison, like if I'm in my office on the phone and I have the Jade near me on medium, my brain doesn't recognize it. On low, you really can't hear it. On high, you can hear it. Like again, if I was on the phone, I probably wouldn't want it on high. But again, in a dental office setting, it's not really an issue. I find that most teams run the Jade in operatory on medium. Maybe during this time they leave it on high. But we also have a light color indicator on the machine that is somewhat addictive, actually. So we have a dial that shows some numbers. And the number is actually the average weight of particulate that's in the air. I know it's kind of a confusing equation, but if we were just to show the number of particulate, like you'd be in the millions or the 100,000s, it would be too big to show on the dial. So we went with the average weight. Like for example, when I was at the meetings in Dallas, and I was at a trade show, with a ballroom and lots of people and carpeted floors, it sat around, 28 to 35, the particulate reading most of the time. But like in the morning, I'd get up and have coffee and watch the sunrise over the balcony. And then I would turn the machines on. As they were running without people, then that number would go down to 0. And so with that, there's also color coding. So when the air is good, it's green. When there's a little bit of activity, whether you're in dental or again at the trade show, a whole bunch of people just walk by, it'll turn yellow. And then if there's a ton of activity or you got a big procedure making a lot of aerosols, it will turn red. And then people often ask, well, what do you do if it turns yellow or red? I simply say, turn it up. It is wave motion control, so really cool. So if your whole team is in op, you're working on a patient, nobody has to take their gloves off or get unscrubbed. So a wave of a hand or even a wave of your elbow over the machine will adjust the speed. So it goes low, medium, high, turbo, automatic. And turbo only runs for 15 minutes. So like the example of the team member cleaning the room. So it'll run for 15 minutes and reset itself to auto.
And I have a question here from someone who asks, if they use essential oils in their office, is it kind of a moot point? Does it take it all out of the air?
Not all. So that same doctor that I gave the reference to, Dr. Bob Prohl, his OM is Cynthia, and she likes her essential oils. So it's still present. You still get the essence of it, but it's probably not as strong.
Okay. And there's a, I don't even want to say competitor. There is a unit out there called an IQ Air. Can you, I don't need for you to blast anything, but can you tell us
No.
differences between the
Yes.
units?
Yeah, and we, well, me as a person, I, never speak ill of anybody else, just again, looking at the difference. So in the bigger picture, currently, nobody has the stages that we have all together. So you might have any company, so it doesn't really matter who you say at this point. But if they might have, the great Hepa, like a MERV rating that's high, but they don't have the UVC light. They might not have any UV light. They might have the UV light, but they don't have activated carbon. So currently there's no air purification company yet that has what we have. I'm sure they're coming. But with that, in direct comparison to the IQ Air, I actually have a chart. And actually, we just did this. We've charted this always, and these are internal documents because, again, we never want to look like we're saying anything against another company. So again, this is internal, so I can share it with you verbally. So it's just a direct comparison. I'm not sure if you can see it, of us, and it just compares our pillars of strength. And this is actually how our owner, Marshall, writes it. So it's the comparison of Jade to, oh, that's the Nuvaris. There's the IQ Air. Comparison of the Jade to the IQ Air. Comparison of the 4 pillars of strength of what surgically clean air subscribes for an air purifier. So one, comparing just again the technologies to technologies, the IQ Air is missing negative ions and missing germicidal UV and no titanium dioxide. So again, the titanium dioxide with our UV is what makes us extremely germicidal. So they do not have germicidal UV. Airflow. So again, we have 5 speeds on the Jade ranging from 130 to 390. They are at 70 CFM. So the CFM is cubic feet per minute. So again, if you look at your airspace and how frequently you want to turn the air, so look at an operatory where we can turn it every 5 minutes, at CFM of 70, you're not going to turn it with that much frequency. And then it also plays into the CFM is the noise level. So their noise level at 70 CFM is the same noise level of us at 260. So again, the noise level. And actually, it's kind of a clever line, and it's not to do with this comparison, but people are like, did you know that an air purifier that's noisy, that it doesn't work? And people are like, what? What do you mean? It's like, yeah, because somebody's going to turn it off. So that's always fun. So airflow and noise, and then noise, so it's another pillar of our strength, is very loud. And especially the fact that it's only moving 70 CFM. And this is the big one. And again, when I talked about what the 2 doctors that created us after SARS, what they were trying to do is be highly efficient, easy to use, and cost effective over time. So this is big, is cost of consumables. So the IQ Air has very high cost of consumables, considering that it's only moving 70 CFM. So again, the more air you're flowing through your system, the more it should be capturing and utilizing each stage. So if, again, you're not moving that much air, but you're still having a high cost of consumables.
And there's another unit out there. Let me see what this is. It's a paradigm zone.
There's also the Sentry.
And so I assume it's the same, that they don't meet all those qualifications.
Right. So again, the pillars of strength is not just having UV light, but knowing that it's UV-C, so germicidal, number 1 right now. Aerosol and particulate capture, so your Hepa, knowing that it's a high-grade Hepa and not just a Hepa, but if they give a MERV rating, is a great classification to know right off the bat of what it's doing. And then for us is we have the other stages of activated carbon and negative ions, which are kind of like just bonuses. Actually, the activated carbon is the strong part that picks up the mercury vapor. So again, if you look at the three ways that, at least for our system, that we're highly effective on mercury capture, is the particulate through the HEPA, the activated carbon for the vapor, and then actually the negative ions plays a huge part in capturing the mercury for this smaller particulate. So whether it's practically into a nano or a microscopic particulate, that the negative ions make them cluster. And again, pulling them together, making them drop out of the breathing zone and then again being swept up. So there's actually three different ways that we are effective on mercury vapor and particulate. So again, having the combination of those things together in one machine that's going to be easy to use, not too loud, so functional to use, and again, not expensive over time to use.
Kelly, I really want to thank you for this evening. We've done a good job as far as presenting the information about the why, and the how seems easy enough. It's plug and play. I like that.
Yes.
And we're all about the how. We don't want people to just know why they need to get something, but how they take care of it and everything else. And I think you've done a really good job. We're going to have this recording up by tomorrow. So if you guys want to re-listen to this or you want to share it with somebody else, I encourage you to do that. If you guys want a copy of the letter that the IABDM sent out to everybody we could think of, I'm going to encourage you to take that letter and disperse it as well to your governors, to your mayors, anybody else you can think of. There's power in numbers, and the more people that we can educate about why a biological office is the only kind of safe dental office for a person to be, I need the help. So you guys are going to be my little missionaries out there spreading
we'll do our
the word.
part as well.
But Kelly,
I would like to share
everybody has
too,
your
yeah,
contact on here?
Yeah, if it's okay, what would work best for us in just working with Dr. Scott as well is I'd like to share my email address, and I can type it in as well. It's just kelly@scadental.com. And what I like to do is share. So we do have a rep force of 16. And what I've been doing, if people want to contact me, and let's say you're in Seattle, Washington, we have a great rep there. Her name is Terry. We have different people in different places. And I'm a big believer that, I can take care of people from Bahamas to Alaska, but I'd like to have local service for you as well, just for your best experience. So whenever it's possible, I could share, if you want to contact me as a central contact, then I could kind of be the quarterback to share with my team members as well. But I just got to make sure they take extra good care of you. But I can type this in too. Don't want any typos. I'm only written a couple 100,000 times.
And so for the person that typed in here just recently, when do you think they'll be back in stock? She said she felt comfortable with sometime in June. And but if you go back and listen to this recording, you'll get a ton of other information that you may have missed as well. Kelly, thank you again so much. We're going to go ahead and discontinue the recording for now, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.